Alright everybody, hello and welcome as always. I'm Sean, this is In The Mixer, episode 119. Happy Thursday wherever in the world you're watching from, and even if you're watching this on a playlist on a different day. Hope you're having a great week. Mentally for me, Thursday just kind of feels like it's already the start of the weekend, because you can get through Friday, easiest day of the week. Set yourself up to play some Football Manager over the weekend and get everything sorted. Now, if you haven't gone back and watched the previous episodes from earlier this week, go and check them out. Not just because they're going to explain to you like the squad, where we're at, how we're working out this week, bringing you the final 10 games of the season. It will also explain the pain that I've been going through because we have not been getting great results. We're going to jump in and have a quick review before we get stuck into two massive fixtures today. So, as you guys can see here, just above my head, we are currently sitting in 10th spot. Now, at the start of the season, we sat down and said we want to finish in the top half. Last year, finishing 11th, felt like a good platform to go and push on and go that little bit higher. The disappointment for me, and it's really when you look at this graph, is that we were like 10 games into the season up in the Champions League spots, which is fine. We're not expected. There's some very, very strong teams in our division. We know that. But it's the way that we've just consistently fallen back down throughout the rest of the season, which kind of has me frustrated. I think we're a better team than Brighton. I think we're a better team than Leeds. I think we're potentially better than this season's Liverpool side as well. And I would like to kind of reflect that in the last 4 games of the year. I don't think we're going to make it up into European football. I think that has pretty much scratched off our list. But if we can at least kind of finish the season with a positive little run of results, get a couple of wins on the bounce and give ourselves a really good platform to build in the off-season and continue our progression up the league next year, I think that will turn around my mental headspace and I'll be in a much better position. So I'm going to be calm, I'm going to find my zen, and we're going to turn around our poor results today. So of course, if you look back on this part, we haven't won in 6 games. And in prior to that, we had like a pretty poor run of 4 or 5 games without defeat. We just seem to have these little spells in seasons where we just can't seem to pick up victories. And I know the Premier Division is probably the hardest division of any in the game, but like we've beaten some really good teams this year. So it's kind of weird that we are so up and down at various points. Of course, in yesterday's episode, pummeled by Man City 4-0, but a character building 0-0 draw against probably champions elect, I think it's safe to say, Manchester United at the DW. We're going to play Bournemouth today down in 13th, and we're going to play Blackburn, who are rock bottom of the division, in 20th. Both definitely winnable games. We could get 6 points in this episode, which we haven't had in forever. I would love to be able to get that to kind of close out the week on the high note. And then tomorrow we finish off the season. We'll play Aston Villa and Norwich. And we'll do a bit of a season review for end of season awards and all that sort of great stuff as well. Looking at the squad, because I'm jumping back into the game as well, the only really concern that we've got is that Tim Kubis still isn't quite back. I'm going to put him back in. I think Brady was a little bit shell-shocked after the 4-0 defeat against Man City. Each of the appearances that he's made so far this season in the Premier Division, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, we've lost all those games. So it might just be a little bit early to be throwing an 18-year-old between the sticks at the Premier League level, but he is progressing nicely. Otherwise, we've just got everyone set up in the roles that we want them using. Gary Lester is probably the main concern. He's still out with a knock. I don't really want to risk that one. Nestor Rossi, his key focus, he's been, to be honest, pretty horrific so far this season. I'm kind of weighing up whether we maybe look at offboarding him during the off-season, sending him back to Italy. We paid £25 million for him, and we're paying him $50,000 a week, and we are not getting any sort of return on that investment just yet. He's made 10 appearances, no goals, no assists, and a 6.46 average rating. This might be the last opportunity for him to really make an impression and find the back of the net. We are also going to rotate a little bit. Phillips has struggled quite a bit in the second half of the season. He's still our leading scorer for the year, 13 goals and 33 appearances, but we need more out of our starting forward. So I'm going to bring Elliot Bloor back in as that pressing forward, and we're just really going to go with the responsibilities in this shape that we kind of want to aspire to for next season. So wingers on attack, wing backs on support, deep line playmakers in there, pressing forward in there. It's not everyone in their preferred roles, but I think it's a team with good balance and a tactic that works. The other thing I've done is I've gotten away from this stopper and covering defender. We're just going to go 2 ball-playing defenders on defend and just see how it goes. We're just going to test some stuff out in this one. Now, last time we played Bournemouth, they did beat us pretty convincingly. I think it was a 3-0 loss to us. This is a kick clash for sure. I don't know what the game's trying to calculate there, but you can see here, woeful form for us and really inconsistent form for them. It might not be... They're probably looking at it thinking this is a great time to play us, but I think we're looking at it saying this is a team that we should be beating to turn around our poor run of form. So to recap, Kubis in goal, Warburton and Escobar as the defensive partnership, Carlos Andre at left wing back, Cedron at right wing back, Clark Alanka midfield in place of Leicester, Barbosa will play alongside him with Aguirre at the 10, Rossi, last chance saloon for him on the left hand side, Peacock, who to be fair has been very good this season on the right, and Elliot Bloor leading the line up top. Looking at Bournemouth's lineup, they've got a couple of holdouts from the original database. I'm not going to focus too much on them. Daly at left back, Walkowitz, I'm guessing is the pronunciation, Polish defender, and Basharan, the Belgian number 10. But I'm going to focus on this front three, which I think is their biggest strength. Olazola on the left wing here, a Spanish winger that they picked up from Brentford for this season, who previously for that had played at Real Sociedad and a few other places. He looks solid, not spectacular. Okay technical ability, okay mental attributes, 19 aggression, the biggest one there, 16 determination's good as well. Physically looks solid though, 16 acceleration, 17 pace, 17 agility. He might cause us some issues. Martinez leading the line up top. He was excellent when we played them last time. From memory, I think he got a double, and then Mason Greenwood came off the bench and scored an absolute screamer. But 18 dribbling, very, very good, and physically just a beast. 18 acceleration, 18 agility, 18 pace, 17 balance, 16 stamina. Very, very impressive from the young Chilean. And then this gentleman, Radim Kopecky. Now, you might have seen this name a couple of different times because when we played against Brentford in the Championship, he was actually on loan at Brentford playing up top. We played a sneaky bid for him. I think we placed like £10 million up front, 30 million over 5 years or 3 years, and maybe like 20 or even 50% of a future transfer fee to try and bring him across the season we got promoted into the Championship. Or into the Premier League, apologies. I'm not speaking all well so far today because he's a pressing forward on attack, and I really enjoy that role. It got rejected, and Bournemouth came back saying they wanted like £100 million for him and 50% of a future fee. So they've rated him incredibly highly. I don't necessarily think his development has warranted that volume of money. So full check international at 20 years of age. He looks all right, but definitely not what I think they were hoping he would turn out to be. We're going to passionately tell the team we owe Bournemouth after what happened in our last match. And everyone's responded positively, which is great. But really, what we need is 3 points. There's an immediate highlight here from kickoff. Aguirre with the ball, sends it out wide right towards Peacock, but it's won back by Bournemouth. And a ball over the top for Martinez, who's immediately gotten in behind and put the finish just past the keeper, but just wide of the near post. So I think that's the danger. They're going to be very direct towards Martinez. And if we don't get that press in midfield right to stop that ball over the top, we might be in a little bit of trouble. Ball forward here to Aguirre. Madden with a tackle, but Cedron with a wonderful touch in traffic to win it back. Gets to the top of the box and goes the strike. Paulo Eduardo in the Bournemouth goal saves and holds. Through 30 minutes now, so we're going to use our Get Creative shout. See if we can't put the foot down a little bit and get a goal before half time. But so far, statistically, we look to be on top. It's about even in terms of highlights we've actually seen. 2 minutes to be added on here at the end of the first half. We'll see what they come back with. Nothing further doing. So 7 shots, 3 on target, 53% of the ball for us. 4 shots, 1 on target, 47% possession for Bournemouth. We're going to passionately say, I'm happy with the performance so far. Keep it up. Just trying to boost morale a little bit. You can see quite a few different morale players here around okay or good. We want to try and finish the season with them pointing a little bit further to the north. As always, though, we'll give it 15 minutes. We'll look at like the different yellow cards that are out there. There's a couple of knocks as well before we make our subs and changes. All right, we're through that hour mark now, and we've got a couple of different things to look at. The first being these yellow cards, and second being average rating. Elliot Bloor has not played particularly well at all, so we're going to bring on Scott Phillips. Maybe a bit of fire in his belly, given that we have dropped him to the bench. Maybe he'll come on and want to try and improve. Rossi, again, having a poor game. We've also got Peacock struggling. Lee Clark in midfield is struggling. Quite a few different players not necessarily playing to the best of their ability. I'm going to bring on Cambridge for Clark as that deep line playmaker. It's not his preferred role. He'd rather be Messiah or box-to-box, but just that yellow card in that position always seems to cause us a few issues. We're also going to passionately wish them or tell them we have faith in them. And then I'm also going to use Old Faithful, our Get Creative shout, after an hour. Let's see if we can't put a little bit more pressure on here. Ball forward. It's back in for Greenwood, who's come off the bench, and they've looked to send Martinez down the left-hand channel. He is definitely the focal point of their attack. Vasek's put it back into a good area. Phillips has managed to win the ball back on halfway. He's got a lot of work to do, and he's found the finish. That is a superb goal from Scott Phillips. He's only got like 11 finishing, I think, but he's picked that one up on halfway, dribbled all the way through into the 18-yard box, and found the far corner with the finish. It's pulled back pass by Vasek there, and the defence is just on their heels, and they don't really recover that well. Good finish from Phillips. Smashes it left foot into the bottom left-hand corner. Keeper could do nothing about it for his 14th goal of the year. Now, is that good enough to be a winner? You can see Bournemouth have made all 3 of their subs now. What I never understand is as soon as we make 3 subs, we go down to 10 men. But as soon as the computer does it, nothing seems to happen. They have got a highlight here. Ball in, one back by Peacock. Clearance isn't great across goal. Backwell's recovered for Bournemouth. Back in. Ball in behind for Talwood. It's hit the deck from Martinez, and the strike had the keeper scrambling, but we managed to get through that one. We're going to hit pause here. We're going to use our last sub. Who is struggling the most? Peacock has a yellow card, but I'm not concerned about him getting sent off. Both our centre-backs have a yellow card, but I think I can trust them. Carlos Andre here, I think, is the concern. On a yellow card with 10 minutes remaining at left wing-back. I'm going to assertively say to Anonye as he comes on as a replacement that we've got faith in him. And we're also going to use our demand more shout here. I'd take a 1-0 victory if we can get it. Cedron with a deep free kick, looks to the switch out towards Rossi left-hand side, and he's gotten goal side, and he's found the rebound, and he's had 3 bites of the cherry. Cuts it back to Barbosa, now Aguirre, Barbosa again, Anonye, back to Barbosa. Someone work a shot, please. He's looked for the switch out to Peacock, and it's over hit out for the corner. Rossi just cannot buy a goal. It's literally going to take a tap in for a yard out for him to open his account for us, I think. And it's such a weird one because he's got all the stats to do really well in the role we're asking him to fulfill. Maguire won the ball back in a great area, and Cambridge with a wonderfully weighted pass to Peacock, wide right. He's gone to strike himself. Phillips knocks it out to Cedron, get it back in the box. Highlight comes to an end without us seeing how that played out. 5 minutes of additional time to be added on here. Let's use our Get Creative shout just to try and get something through in the last few minutes. And we've held on for a 1-0 victory. I can't say it's the greatest performance of the season, but in reality, we just needed 3 points. That was the key and critical part today. 15 shots, 9 on target, 53% of the ball for Isle of Man. Bournemouth with 13 shots, 7 on target, 47% possession. And that 1 goal to Scott Phillips off the bench, a wonderful strike from him, enough to get the 3 points. Assertively, well done, lads. Good win for us. And that does break our duck. We get our first victory in the last 7 games. So it does say 10th. We're 3 points behind Brighton, who are in 9th spot. 7 points behind Leeds, who are in 8th. So I think the best we can do is probably finish 9th, or at least secure our position here in 10th position. And we are on a -1 goal difference. Hopefully we can run up a few goals in these last few games and get back to a positive goal difference. Scott Phillips gets the Man of the Match award, an 8.1 match rating. Fantastic from him. Elliot Blaw's been injured, which is just so typical of his season. And let's give Phillips a bit of praise and say, superb in front of goal last time out. Well done. We might make a couple of adjustments, I think. We might put Blaw out on the left wing for Nesta Rossi, and we might put Scott Phillips on to start. And what I'm going to do, just because we've got a couple of knocks and we've had quite a few games over the end part of the season, we're going to give everyone one rest day who started. Might be that Gary Lester is also fit. Yeah, we'll drop him back in as well. Why not? And we do have a full week before the game away at Ewood Park against Blackburn. They are bottom of the division. I think they are effectively already relegated. It will take a small miracle for them to actually get out, and potentially if we beat them, they will be confirmed as relegated as far as that. Unless my math is terrible, if we beat them, I think they're confirmed as relegated, though they do seem to have a game in hand that might come into it as well. Magic of editing. I'm going to jump forward and look at the 2 lineups for that game now. Right, just like that, we are a week ahead. It's a very familiar Blackburn lineup. We'll go through them in a minute. We've had 1 knock during the week. Cambridge will come in for Lua Barbosa, who's picked up, I think, a thigh injury. He should hopefully be back for tomorrow's episode. But otherwise, it's pretty much the full strength lineup. It's the only real change that we've had to make. It does see Clark jump onto the bench as well as a backup midfield option. So Kubis in goal, Warburton and Escobar as the defensive partnership, Carlos Andre and Cedron as the wing-backs, Lester Alanka midfield alongside Cambridge. We may switch it to a box-to-box midfielder, which is his preferred role. Aguirre will play at the 10, pulling the strings, Blore on the left wing, Peacock on the right, and Phillips comes back in up top, our leading scorer after that wonderful goal last time out. Looking at Blackburn's lineup, they have an interesting side. They've got Pavlovic at the back here, holding out from the original database, or the original, what you'd call real players at the start of the save. 31 years of age now for the Serbian international. Starts at Partizan Belgrade, where he stayed for a few years before joining Man City, and then Red Bull Salzburg, then Sporting Lisbon, Frankfurt, Leeds, and now he spent the last 7 years at Blackburn. He would have been down in the Championship with them as they got promoted, and he's likely going to play in the Championship with them next year. Let's call a spade a spade. We've got Luke Matheson as well from Rochdale, one of the highest, I think, potential players in the database, certainly from English players. He looks to have been a solid wing-back on defend all throughout the course of his career. Nothing spectacular, though. I think a Championship level player at best, but physically he's got some very good attributes. And at 30, I guess he's probably not in his peak. We have played Blackburn a variety of times as well. We drew them twice in the FA Cup over previous seasons. Once, we actually beat them across 2 legs. They did sign Ruben Neves, who, interestingly, at 36 years of age now, is their leading scorer. He's had quite the career. He was at Wolves, then he went to PSG for 8 years, came back to England with Chelsea, then back to Wolves for 2 years last season, where we played against him last time. They got relegated, and it looks like he's going to have another side relegated with him at the heart of midfield in Blackburn this year. And at 36, he's physically not that great, so I think it's an interesting one that they're playing him in like a 4-4-2. They've also got Karamoko Dembele, a wonderful, wonderful player. If you can pick him up early in your own saves, he'll be at Celtic at the start of everyone's database. Never actually made a full England cap, which I think is very interesting. I think part of that might be that he left Celtic and went to Championship teams instead of Premier Division sides, but always interesting to see how those sort of transfers play out during the course of people's saves. And up top, they've got a 33-year-old Ukrainian, Vladislav Supriya. Probably butchering that pronunciation. Apologies to any Ukrainians. You can correct me in the comment section below. 18 free kick taking is the big one that jumps out at me. We'll have to keep an eye on it if they get any set pieces. But he looks to be a relatively straightforward advanced forward. And the fact they're two strikers aren't their highest scorers for the season makes me think that's been their big issue this year. Passionately, we're going to say nobody expects us to get a result here, which is weird given that they are bottom of the division and we are, for the second year in a row, defying expectations from the media. But we'll let that go and we will try and get 3 points to shut up everybody and hopefully get a good response and payout for all of our backers at the bookmaker. First highlight of the game starts with a goal kick for us. Escobar in possession, looks out to Cedron. Scott men in midfield and finds Leicester now. Back to Aguirre, now Leicester again. Aguirre was in a good little half space, but we don't find him. Kubis now goes directly to him. Out left to Teddy Bloor. I always call him Teddy Bloor. I don't know if that's like a name from a TV show or something. It's found its way to Cedron via Aguire's strike. Can he cut it back? He goes himself. It's pinballing around. Peacock and Phillips both had strikes at it from the rebound. But I tell you what, when like a wing-back player gets to the byline, 2 yards out, they have to look for their cutback. It's my biggest frustration with Football Manager this year. And yes, I do play a lot of the games, so I probably see it more frequently, but like it's just, you got to ask yourself sometimes, what is realism and what makes a fun video game? And it definitely does not make the video game more fun. Ball out here to Peacock, finds Bloor back post, and he finds the finish. Only the 6th goal of the season for Elliot Bloor in a very injury-limited and form-limited campaign. He's done quite well here. Aguirre with a lovely little reverse pass to Phillips, and then Phillips' touch just takes him back into traffic for some reason. Leicester plays it to Peacock, who then gets a good flick on header, finds Bloor, who takes a touch. Keeper doesn't come out, and he just slides that one home. 22 minutes gone. We take a 1-goal advantage, and hopefully that is the start of us putting a few in the back of the net today, because we really need a big win. As I say that, Cedron's picked up an injury, which isn't great. Brian Anonye will come on at right wing back. It's not his preferred role, but we will find a way to make it work. Ball in here from the throw-in. Matheson with the ball in defence. They're working out towards the left wing. Toulson comes forward now. Anonye knocks him back. Nen, who I had a wonderful Brazilian regen named Nen last year with #United. It's not the same guy, unfortunately. Aguirre coming back with the ball now through midfield. Back to Anonye. Working possession well. Long ball forward was never really on. Ruben Neves now sends it back out to the left-hand side to Toulson. Reverse pass to Suprahaya. Nobody foul him. Ball in behind for Tompkins. And then the strike from the edge of the area from Suprahaya. Only his 7th goal of the season. It was a great strike, though. Check it out here in 3 dimensions. I'm pretty sure he's just rifled it into the roof of the net. Toulson. Good little reverse pass there. And then this is where I think they hurt us a little bit. It's a nice triangle, and I actually think it was a tackle from Warburton that eventually led to the Ukrainian striker levelling that one in from the edge of the 18-yard box. We will probably now use our demand more shout. We've been on top statistically and possession speaking, but really we need to try and find the back of the net to bring our goal into play. Escobar finds Anonye, back into Aguirre. Got to be careful with those square balls in midfield. Aguirre, now Leicester. How are we going to work this across to the other side? Finds Cambridge. We've got a 2v1 on the left if we get it out. Instead, we've gone to the right-hand side. Anonye on the overlap. Can try and find a teammate in Peacock now. Goes past a couple. Lays it off to Aguirre, who hits the base of the post. And Aguirre, second half of this season, his shooting boots have been fairly decent. He's chipped in with a couple of big goals. At halftime, 1-1. Blackburn have had 3 shots, 2 on target, 44% possession. We've had 9 shots, 3 on target, 56%. We really need to go on and start finding the back of the net with some regularity. Well, 3 points would be great. We really need to get our goal difference boosted a little bit if we've got any hope of catching Brighton. Aguirre with the ball in here, back stick. McLean comes out and claims in the Blackburn goal. The highlight continues, 54 minutes played. They're a bit slow getting into their shape. They've gone long forward. Carlos Andre with a good header back in. Bloor, who scored earlier, wins it back and finds Aguirre, who looks out right towards Peacock. What do we got in the box? Skips past one, finds Phillips near post, who then clips the post before Morris in the Blackburn defence puts it out for the corner. Aguirre should take. His delivery's been good all season. Goes short to Peacock. He's taken down by Tolson. We're going to have a wide free kick in an advanced area. It'll either be Aguirre or Peacock to take. I'm assuming by the way they're lining up here, it's probably going to be Aguirre. Stands over the ball now. Looks back stick towards Bloor. McLean comes out and claims very well. Probably have to look near post on that one. All right, we're through the hour mark now, so we are going to hit... Oh, actually, we're going to let this highlight play out, and then we'll have a look at what we're going to do. Ball back to Carlos Andre from the throw. Deep ball towards Aguirre in the box, and he just had to get that on target. Went for power instead of placement, and unfortunately just wide. We'll sort these by match rating. Anonye hasn't had a great game, but I can't be critical of him because he's playing out of position. Carlos Andre hasn't had a fantastic game either. Kubis hasn't had a great game. Phillips is struggling a little bit. We might move Elliot Bloor up top, and we might bring on Nestor Rossi on the left wing. I know we said last opportunity for him, but he is, statistically speaking, a good player. And then I might hold off with that last sub, remembering that we had to take off Cedron early doors. We might do that one. We might use our Get Creative shout just to give everyone some inspiration, hopefully create a few more attacking opportunities. And then that last sub I might hold off on until the last 10 minutes. All right, we're into the last 10 minutes now, so we're going to have to make that sub. What are we going to do? Anonio hasn't played particularly well, but we don't have much that we can do in terms of changes. So I'm thinking maybe we switch everyone to their preferred roles. See if that roll of the dice can help us out a little bit. And then the last sub we might take Peacock off for Jimmy Winter just on that right-hand side. Just as something to do, really. I'm going to passionately give everyone some praise, and I'm also going to use our demand more shout here for the last 10 minutes. It would be a massive waste of an opportunity to not beat the bottom team in the division. 4 minutes to be added on. We're through half that time now. I'm going to use Get Creative as well, and we're through the 4 minutes, and the referee's called full time. That is a disappointing performance. A 1-1 draw with the worst team in the league. 6 shots, 4 on target, 45% for Blackburn. Really just that one highlight they scored from the game. 20 shots, 9 on target, 55% possession for us. I'm going to say, far from pleased with what I saw from this team. Everyone seems to have responded positively, except Warburton, who's a bit demotivated. Maybe we give him a rest for the next game. So I think that pretty much settles where we finish in the division. I think we're going to finish 10th, though Norwich aren't miles behind us. We do have them on the last day of the season as well. I don't think we're going to catch Brighton now, given that they are +5 goal difference and we're -1. We're definitely not catching Leeds. We're definitely not catching Liverpool. So haven't got European football, but can still secure a top half finish in tomorrow's episode. As far as the league's concerned, United are now 13 points clear with a game in hand. I think they're effectively guaranteed the championship or the Premier League title if they win their game in hand. And to be honest, they've been the best side by a mile this season. Otherwise, City look guaranteed to finish in second spot. Arsenal and Tottenham are the other two in third and fourth positions for those Champions League spots. There's an outside chance that Southampton could catch them, or potentially Chelsea, but they need to lose their remaining games to fall out of those spots. Leeds still chasing Liverpool with 2 games remaining for that last Europa League position, but in reality, I think most of those positions will stay as they are. And just as I've said that, champions Red Devils complete a treble, having won the Premier Division, the UEFA Super Cup, and the English Community Shield this season. I wonder how many more competitions they're actually still in. So they're still in the Champions League semi-finals. They won away from home against Liverpool in that. They're also in the FA Cup final. They may potentially win 5 trophies this season. How'd they go in the Carabao Cup? They lost to Liverpool in the Carabao Cup 4th round. So that'll be the one trophy of the 6 they've entered that they don't win this year if they see through everything they've got finished. And Cedron's out for a couple of weeks, which is a bit of a pain. So looking forward to the schedule. We've got 2 games tomorrow to close out the season. Aston Villa in 15th spot and Norwich 1 point behind us in 11th. And as we always do at the end of the season, we'll go through our end of season awards and all that sort of stuff as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That's the part that I appreciate the most. If you wanted to go that extra mile, you can like this video. It pleases that YouTube algorithm, gets our results high in search results when people look for Football Manager content, helps grow the community, helps make it a more vibrant place as well. You can also subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date on any future videos that they're released. If you've got any feedback, positive or negative, updates on your own save, anything that you wanted to ask me, drop it in the comment section below. I do respond to every comment that I get. And you can check out our links just over on that side to our Twitch and Twitter, where we have all our great interactions with the community. But more than anything, I appreciate you watching. I've been Sean. I'll see you all again in the mixer.